After Miami's historic season came to an end with their first ever Final Four appearance, winning 29 games, which tied a school record, and claiming the school's third conference championship in history of the program, three Miami Hurricanes have decided to enter the transfer portal. I will focus on these three players, a transfer name that you might have heard already, as well as focusing on two key top recruits in the 2024 class that Miami has identified as its top targets. Plenty of more information will be on InsideTheU.com. Definitely stay tuned over there. And any type of breaking information will be there. And I'll continue to do these reaction videos if you like these kind of things with the basketball program. Me personally, I love basketball, college basketball. Anyone that knows me personally knows my love for the game and the sport. So I'm glad there's more people excited about this program and maybe moving forward with the offseason as Miami looks to have another great season. So with these three players, I'm going to speak about each one individually, what it means, and maybe what I thought of them during the season, starting with Anthony Walker and then Favour Aire and then Danilo Jovanovich, two freshmen at the end, and then Anthony Walker. Let's start with him with Walker. 125 games played over his 4-year career at Miami, a key reserve on the Hurricanes' last two deep tournament runs, including this past season as Miami's top post off the bench. I think Anthony Walker deserves a lot of credit for being a part of the success. He's a guy that started his second season at Miami. It was not a great year in 2020, 2021 for the team. Anthony took a back seat, had a different role the past two seasons, but a key role off the bench. Once again, Miami has had great success with Anthony on the team these last 2 years. He deserves a lot of credit for that. I hope a lot of people respect with what he's been able to do for the program. To me, he's a guy that I've always enjoyed speaking to about the game and just watching him practice. He's a guy that always brought positive energy to the team. He's a guy that battled through some things when he first arrived in terms of getting used to the college game. But I thought as his career went on, he became more and more mature. And I know the coaching staff, notably Jim Larinaga, made note of that with Walker. And I just think he was a valuable part to this team's success. He deserves a lot of credit. Once again, a guy that brought a lot of positive energy, also on the floor, not only with what he was able to do as a key big, but he was a guy that was very athletic. He could play defense. He provided good backup role in these past two seasons. And I just think he was a guy that was valuable to the team. Certainly his offensive numbers and his production could be better. That's why he was a reserve, but he played 10, 11 minutes this past season off the bench and was just a key player for the Hurricanes. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has in store for next with his career. 4 years at Miami. He's got one more year of eligibility. He has that extra year of eligibility because of the 2019, the 2020 season. Because of COVID, NCAA granted all players an extra year of eligibility. Anthony has entered the transfer portal and will look to play a fifth season somewhere else. And with Favour Aire, whose first name is Onursudeba, originally from Nigeria, but goes by Favour, played his high school ball in Maryland, a top 4-star prospect coming out of high school in the class. And to me, he was a guy that I thought had a bright future because he had the right mindset with his work ethic, talking to him before the season even began and also watching him go through some workouts before practices. Favour was just a guy that seemed to have the right mindset towards his approach to getting better, wanted to get better, understood that he had to improve on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he's going to go to that jump hook in the lane. That's what he's most known for. And then defensively, he wants to block shots. He's got to stay out of foul trouble, but all young big men typically have to deal with that. And I think it's going to be something to watch for moving forward with his career. But I like his bright future ahead of him, depending on where he ends up, a program that definitely could, continue to mold him and also develop him moving forward. But again, I think Favour's got a bright career. It's unfortunate he's not going to stay at Miami. And I think one of the things that stands out to me with him and also with Danilo is the 4 freshmen that came in together. Those two and AJ Casey and also Kristen Watson were very close. They lived together. They are always hanging out together. And they kind of went through this season all together, all in similar roles. AJ Casey was in the rotation. Favour played behind AJ and also Anthony Walker, played 14 games in the season, never got a lot of minutes. He did have one game where he had 10 minutes in the game, scored 6 of his 9 points on the season, but really was never really a factor. And I thought early on in the year that maybe if Miami wanted to go big, with an extra big man. I thought Favour maybe could be in there as a defensive guy, but he just wasn't. Miami stuck to the small ball. They went with AJ Casey instead, and they just didn't play a lot of post players. And that's one of the things that stands out to me with these three transfers moving on, is if everybody were to come back, they're essentially in the same spot they were last year, where they're all slated behind Norchad Omier in reserve roles. So I feel like they saw that, and Miami, this could be an indication Miami's going to go small once again. But even if not, they're probably going to, if they do get someone else to play the 5, move Omier to the 4 if they want to do that. They've got flexibility with their roster. And I think just these three players didn't figure into being starters in the coaches' minds. I think the players knew that and decided to move forward. So whatever route Miami wants to go with its roster for next season, and with that, these three players now open up 3 spots for Miami for the 2023-24 season, and we'll see if everything continues on. There's still some question marks if everyone else will still return, notably Isaiah Wong, who has a chance to go pro or come back for his 5th season. Harlan Beverly's another one, and anyone else who didn't play quite as much. I think it's just something to watch for, decide to see who's going to come back. And with Danilo, he only played in 1 game, 2 minutes late in the game, early on in the season. And even with that 1 game played, that essentially ruined his chances to earn a red shirt unless they could prove that he was medically cleared. However, I was told that the coaching staff was optimistic or hopeful that they could still earn a red shirt for him in this past season because he only played in the 1 game. But what I will say, moving forward with Danilo, I think his offensive game is going to be fun to watch develop, because in practices, he would run with the scout team, and I saw him score in multiple ways. Left-handed shooter that can knock down threes from the perimeter, notably from that baseline spot. I saw him hit multiple threes at practices going against the top unit. Also, he had the ability to finish at the rim. With a big guy with his offensive skills, as he continues to develop, he's going to be someone to maybe watch for as he could continue to progress in his career. Again, I hope Miami fans respect all 3 of these guys' decisions, what they meant to this program this past season, or with Anthony Walker the past 4 years, and really take a liking to them at their next journey to see what happens next with these 3 players. So with these 3 players moving on, Miami's got options to add 3 more players to its class. Look for the transfer portal to do that, because there's just not a lot of high school prospects available, and that's very common with how basketball recruiting works. Most players sign in November, and then they have that later period in April, which opens up in the near future, but there's just not a lot of talented players. So from a Miami standpoint, I think that they'll turn their main focus to recruiting transfers in the transfer portal, and there are a number of players already in the portal, and they're going to look at them. They've had great success in the past 2 years building these Elite 8/Final 4 teams with Jordan Miller, Charlie Moore from 2 years ago, and then added Norchad Omier and Nigel Pack last summer. But also, Miami has had a lot of success during their time with Jim Larinaga head coach before the transfer portal was introduced, when transfers had to sit out a year. Cameron McGusty had to do it. Also Angel Rodriguez, Sheldon McClellan, and then also Shane Larkin. If people don't remember, he was actually enrolled at DePaul. He got that immediate eligibility to play at Miami, but he too was a transfer. Obviously, all 4 of those guys were key players, in addition to the 4 that I just mentioned. But one name that popped up in people's minds, and maybe they thought he was going to arrive at Miami, Jalen DeLoach. However, I want to report that Miami had never reached out to him. And I know that's disappointing, because for some people, as DeLoach had Miami in his top 6, his official top 6, spoke highly of Miami. However, the reality is Miami had never reached out to him, and he's just not an option for the Hurricanes. So I just want to make that clear, that he is just not someone that they're pursuing at this time. Now, 2 guys that Miami will be pursuing heavily, and they've already started the recruiting process, and 2 guys that have already spoken highly about Miami in this 2024 recruiting class that I want you guys to pay attention to, and that's Rakees Passmore, a wing player out of North Carolina. Pay attention to him. He definitely wants to visit. They're working on setting up times to visit Miami in the near future, either in the spring or summer, based on the schedule. And some of that has had to do with Miami's current schedule, with playing through deep into the tournament, and they were trying to figure out when would be the best time to visit campus. Another guy who I really like, and I think it's going to be someone to continue to watch for, is another guy that Miami really likes, and that's combo guard Jaden Mustaf out of North Carolina. Also, one of these top regarded players, got good size. He likes Miami, currently has Miami in his top 5. For more information on Jaden, definitely check out InsideTheU.com. There's a recent update that I feel like most people would have missed because the update came out on the day of Miami's Final Four. But pay attention to Jaden in the spring and summer months with the AAU circuit, getting ready to get ramped up this month. I can't believe it's already happening, but that's how the AAU schedule works. April, it gets started very heavily with evaluation periods and everything like that. And also May is a big month. June is a little bit different. July is obviously a heavy month. So these summer months, if you're new to basketball recruiting, definitely this is the time to be dialed in to InsideTheU.com. I had plenty of recruiting coverage last year. I felt like at that time, not a lot of people jumped on board with basketball recruiting information that they wanted to consume. However, I'm going to do my best to do even more than I did last year and provide you guys even more, because I feel like you're very interested in this program, basketball recruiting. I'm excited to bring it to you. I've had some great memories of covering basketball recruits over my years of covering Miami, and I'm excited to bring more information to you guys. So definitely be locked into the channel for more recruiting information, more transfer reaction videos, and also some more insight on what's going on with Miami's basketball program in the off season. And make sure you subscribe to InsideTheU.com. Plenty more information will be there, up-to-date information. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm excited to bring you content. Hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this, more updates, more reactions to what's going on with the basketball program. Thanks for watching. As always, hopefully you have a good rest of the day and take care.